Hello and welcome to One Storyteller, where today we are in Two Towers, Book 1 of the Two Towers, which is Book 3, Chapter 8, The Road to Isengard. You're welcome. I am Reagan.
I'm Andrew.
And just this chapter today, we finished Helm's Deep last time, which, following back up on the conversation we were finishing with, there was, in fact, a large group of trees that show up in the movie. I believe it's in the extended edition only, but Andrew was correct on that.
Of course.
There were trees. It's very silly. I wiped it from my mind because it's very silly.
You don't even know why they're there. You can't say it's silly or not yet.
I think I do. It's pretty clear what Gandalf says about them
Oh, that's
in this
right.
chapter.
You did read this chapter.
Now I
But
know.
Then you know it's not silly.
Well, I also know it's not Gandalf.
Yes.
This is crazy. So, yeah. Okay, so he was right on that. That's great. And now we move on. Road to Isengard.
Yeah.
This is your least favorite chapter.
Yeah, it's not bad. I don't feel like it's doing too much by itself.
Is it your least favorite up until this point, or like your least favorite in Two Towers?
Certainly the first one. It may well be the second one. The second part of Two Towers is really, really good.
Okay. Yeah, we got like Gollum.
Yeah.
He's kind of a bad guy.
Yeah.
Secret. He pretends to be a good guy, but he's not.
Well,
Sometimes.
we'll have to talk about that.
Occasionally. Maybe he is a good guy. Actually, Gollum's the hero of the story. I've changed my
He
mind.
does say that at one point.
You ever read the Gospel of Judas, where Judas is the good guy?
I have heard about that.
It's a classic. It's really bad. That's sacrilegious. Okay. So, Road to Isengard. This whole chapter is people going to Isengard.
Yes.
The chapter begins at Helm's Deep, where Gandalf says hello to everyone who survived, which is everybody except Hama. Rip Hama.
It is sad.
Unfortunate. And then the chapter ends when they actually get to Isengard, but before they confront Saruman. So
yeah.
Nothing exciting happens in this chapter.
No, there's a couple neat moments between different characters who are talking. Actually, some really important ones now that I think about it. But yeah, mostly walking, and I'd even say mostly building suspense, which is a little tiresome if you've watched the movies a lot or even read the books a lot.
Fair.
It's not too bad, but it's like, okay, Gandalf is just withholding information for fun as a little bit of a test, I suppose. Like, I expect I don't know for sure what's going to be at Isengard, but I expect Saruman's cooked. So let's go talk to him.
Yeah. There were moments I couldn't really decide if Gandalf didn't know or just didn't tell.
Yeah. Well, he knew more than he said.
Probably.
That's for sure.
Probably.
Because he wasn't saying much about that.
I guess when I was reading this, there are a lot of descriptions. There's like a whole page or page and a half on a description of Isengard as it used to be, and then you turn the page and it's immediately like,
here's what
it's all
like
dead.
I think that's important to have at some point. May as well be here.
Maybe, but I've already seen the movies. I know that it's all dead. And so for me, that it didn't seem like suspense for me, but I'm reading it with an eye of like already knowing what's happening. Mm-hmm. So I imagine for a first-time reader, this probably hits different, or a first-time experience.
Because Gandalf we don't know exactly where the forest comes from. It's probably not too hard to guess if you're reading it for the first time.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it's not Gandalf.
No.
That was a secret.
And then Gandalf doesn't even tell us everything he was doing till like halfway through this chapter,
And even when he does, like, what? Oh, anyway,
we'll talk about that. I guess.
We'll talk about that.
I don't have a problem with that.
I may. I guess we'll find out.
Who would have thought?
I never have problems with anything.
No, I'm very surprised.
That's good. That's good. See my reckless positivity.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. That's me. Everyone knows it. So everybody survived Helm's Deep, basically. That's how the chapter opens. Gimli comes out of the caves. They were in the fortress. The fortress went out on a reckless charge to go and get themselves killed. Didn't manage to. They actually won. That's a terrible way to say that, but here we are.
But okay, it works.
Fortress guys survived, and then the chapter opens with the cave guys surviving, which is where Gimli and Éomer and like the civilians that were
and Gambling. He was there at the dike as well.
Gambling is still alive. Rip Hama.
Yes.
But Hama's the only named character who died. And we didn't even see it. It happened off screen. So hope he's doing all right. Here is where we get a mention that Gimli's axe got scratched. I think this might be, or notched, as the case may be. This is the first and only time weapon maintenance is ever mentioned in Lord of the Rings.
Maybe, probably.
Yeah. Cool.
That's fine.
It's a cool flavor detail, and then you just kind of move on. The important bit of all of this is that Gimli won.
Yes, by one.
And that's all it takes.
That's true. And
Legolas was very happy to concede a defeat since Gimli was alive.
Yes.
Essentially.
It's fun. That's a fun moment.
Yes. So there's a rivalry between them, and there's actually quite a lot of Legolas Gimli dialogue in this chapter.
Yes. As next two chapters might have some of the most, or this chapter and the next, I mean, have like a lot of dialogue from them.
Interesting. Towards each other, or just in general?
Mostly towards each other, but cool. Not just.
Very cool. So you see a lot of that as you go throughout. Different proclivities, different things that they like.
Yes.
Like the forest and the mountains. Yes. That's where I'll leave that for now. Éomer comes out, and he's kind of mad at Gandalf for...
Is that right?
I think so. And that first page. He's...
Oh,
I don't
he's
know if
like,
it's mad
you
or...
didn't tell us when you were coming back.
Which is a base complaint. That's my complaint.
Yeah.
It's you didn't tell us when you were coming back, and you didn't tell us how you were coming back. And here you arrive just at the perfect time with a forest and also an army.
Feels like a bit more bemused than angry to me.
Probably.
But I see what you're saying.
I think it should be noted he has the same complaints that I have with Gandalf.
No.
And Gandalf says nothing.
No.
he just it worked. So it's fine. Gandalf actually here he makes this excuse and says, "Oh, the tree, I didn't bring the trees. I haven't even done wizardry yet."
Which is true. He's just ridden around fast on a horse.
Yes. Very fast on a horse.
Yeah.
Apparently. So I don't exactly know the scale of Rohan, but his explanation to Theoden of what Gandalf was doing is your army didn't die. Like, most of them didn't die at the fords they were trying to hold earlier.
Which checks out, I think.
Yes. Most of them were just run off and scattered around.
Yeah.
So Gandalf, I guess, caught up with a bunch of different individuals and explained the situation to them, and also gave them all individual tasks, all within the space of like 12 hours?
Yeah.
That's a lot of ground to cover and people to talk to for just 12 hours or so of life. I don't know that I buy that. Andrew is currently checking a map to try and
this map's
justify
awesome.
this.
This is why my book is superior.
It is an awesome map. I will give you that. It's a fold-out map with like 8 pages in the back of his book.
That's exactly what it is.
That's
it appears that it is about 50 miles from Helm's Deep to Edoras, for instance.
Okay.
And a little over that, maybe like 65 between Isengard and Helm's Deep.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. How long? It takes them like a day and a half of regular riding to get to Isengard, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Something because they do spend the
They
night
take
out.
a much easier pace.
Yes. And so that fair enough if you're doing like I don't know 40 miles a day or something like that. Seems relatively reasonable on a horse. Yes. Still that's a lot of running back and forth that Gandalf is doing.
Mm-hmm.
If he is contacting all of these individual people, not only is he contacting all of them.
Well, let's amend it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not. You probably doesn't change the point. It's a little pedantic, but he's not meeting individuals as much as like these different companies.
Okay, is it?
Yeah,
I couldn't tell. I thought it was individuals.
He's not just finding like maybe he found one guy alone, but he's finding like groups of people retreating. Because they're not all. They didn't manage to all retreat as a group, so he sent some people. Maybe he sent as individuals, but mostly he's trying to talk to larger groups. We find out later in the chapter he sent, Grimbold's men to guard Meduseld and Edoras just in case.
Meduseld is like the throne room, right?
Yeah.
The mead hall. Okay.
And he found Erkenbrand, obviously.
Yes.
And he found a couple companies and sent them to bury some dudes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
So I don't know if that feels a little more palatable, reasonable. He's going across people who are already in groups.
Yeah. Well, he says, more were scattered than were slain. I gathered together all that I could find. So I'm assuming that means more individual stuff than group stuff. But
I mean,
that's how I would take that phrase. Anyway, he assigns some people to guard the capital.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because the capital was empty of soldiers before that.
Or most of them. Yeah.
Yes. And we will learn from Isengard that emptying your city of soldiers is not a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Helm's Deep was only saved because that city was not empty of soldiers. Edoras was empty of soldiers. That was not good. And so Gandalf made sure to shore that up. I don't know what great meta point is being made there, but
I think just that
maybe there's something.
is pretty good at his job.
Yes.
Get this man a horse. Watch the fireworks.
Apparently. So Edoras is protected, and then, of course, there's a company that goes to Helm's Deep. Why does he assign some amount of people to go and bury the dead?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know burying the dead is important. I feel like fighting the current war is probably more important than distracting your forces to go and bury, dead people.
Yeah. I think the answer is twofold, and
Okay.
you already said one of them. And I guess we have already begun talking about the first thing I'll say,
Aha.
which is this was a long trip. Like, you get the sense Erkenbrand and his guys they were already heading towards Helm's Deep, so it's not like the full 65 miles or whatever that they had to do in a night.
Yeah.
But they still had to march, like, I don't know, maybe like 30 miles, something close to that, through the night to arrive there.
Yeah.
Which is why Gandalf says,
wild.
Gandalf says it wasn't as wizardry as much as the stout legs of the Westfold folk who saved you.
I didn't catch that.
Because that is a heroic thing to do. Because they were already walking before that.
And somewhat impossible, but
No, just really hard.
oh, sure.
It's not impossible.
That is part of the fantasy. Is you can march 30 miles in full armor and still be well equipped enough to go and fight a war.
Well, mostly they screamed at the orcs.
It's true. They are Gideon.
I don't know.
I can buy it,
okay.
but it is.
So that's those people were already close enough to do that heroic thing.
Okay.
And I get the sense some people might not have made it as far.
Fair enough.
So Gandalf's like, you're not going to make it, or you're going to be too exhausted.
Yeah.
I can barely make these people do it, but you go bury the dead. And the other thing is, it is really important. They don't want to leave their shield brothers out in the exposed,
Fair enough. I feel like this chapter had a couple of things of exaggerated maybe like idealistic kind of fantasy in it.
Yeah, what do you mean?
And I feel like that's one of them is
Like prioritizing.
take time to bury your dead.
Yeah.
I don't think in the real world, I don't think that would happen. At least not very frequently. You can hire peasants to go and bury the dead. Sure, that's fine. But like, you're not going to use your soldiers for that while an active war is going on. But Rohan's noble in that. The second thing that stood out to me on that is when they run across, because they scour the battlefield at some point. The orcs are dead.
Yeah.
Based. The Dunlanders, the human beings, some of them are dead. A lot of them are still alive.
Yeah.
But rather than kill them, in a realistic world, you would kill your enemies, or you would enslave your enemies.
Yeah.
And instead, what Rohan chooses to do is use the Dunlanders to clean up the mess they made, and then send them back home fine.
Yeah. It is extremely merciful.
Yeah. It's not very, I don't think it's very realistic.
No,
But
I would agree with that.
But that is more of a condemnation of our world that we live in, more than it is a blight against Lord of the Rings. I think
that's a beautiful way to say that.
It would be cool to live in a world where people treated each other like that, even their enemies.
Yeah.
Right? That's what Jesus was like.
Yeah, no,
all about. So.
It really is striking. Yeah, they did take their weapons from them, which is
fair.
Fair.
Trust but verify.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's one of the notes I had was actually on that idea. Because Erkenbrand's, he's the lord of these lands. So he tells them what to do. He says, repair the evil that you've joined in, then take an oath never to pass the river again with weapons, or to march with the enemies of men. And then you can go free back to your land. He's said, you've believed the lies of Saruman, and you've received the reward of believing those lies. And also, this is especially striking to me, you wouldn't have gotten much better if you'd won this battle from Saruman.
Yeah.
Which I dare say is true.
Probably correct.
Yeah. And then there's this little sentence here. The men of Dunland were amazed, for Saruman had told them that the men of Rohan were cruel and burned their captives alive.
Yep.
You get the sense Saruman is just... They have this old hatred that predisposes them to believe negative things about the people of Rohan.
Yeah.
And you get the sense Saruman was just like going crazy with that.
Yeah.
Because burning your captives alive is pretty cruel and unusual, right? That seems to exceed regular evil, if you will.
Yeah.
We don't even... Maybe Sauron does this, but we don't even read about Sauron doing something like that, you know? So it exceeds the usual evil, or even the unusual evil in Middle-earth.
Yeah.
But Saruman is like... He's feeding on those fears and hatreds that the men of Dunland already have. What I think that's... What am I trying to say? It's just something to think about with the kinds of things you choose to believe.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's someone who did something bad to you a long time ago or recently or whatever. And you can choose to let that just like dominate your perception of life and particularly them and their actions. But we're called to be a bit more humble in mind and really look for the truth and even to be gracious, which I think the men of Rohan are embodying that, right?
Yeah.
But and for Dunland, they're this is what they want to believe. They want to believe they can strike out and take justice for themselves, for what seems right to them. I guess that's all I'm trying to say.
Think about how many problems would be solved if you just talked to people before reacting.
Yeah. It's like, Saruman's saying this. What if we talk to the men of Rohan?
Yeah. If they just came down and had a chat with Rohan, nobody would die. Because Rohan doesn't want to get in a fight, and Dunland doesn't really want to get in a fight.
Probably not.
But it is Saruman using or abusing the lack of communication between the two groups, and that destroys both of them. And when they're given a chance to think for themselves, then they get to work through their differences, and it's all nice and happy.
Yeah.
And Dunlin never causes problems again. At least not in the books.
Yeah. Doesn't seem so.
Or in the movies, I guess. Maybe in the Fourth Age, but
maybe.
Who knows? That's not real. It doesn't exist. Why is everything fantasy always set in the Third Age?
Is that the thing?
The Lord of the Rings is, and Wheel of Time is, and that seems to be like
Wheel of Time?
the only two.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's the third turning of the wheel, whatever that means. I know there are explanations for that, but there's spoiler alerts for like everybody who hasn't read all 14 books.
Okay. Strange.
It's fascinating, very interesting. But yes, also Third Age stuff. So like I don't know what that is. I feel like everything fantasy is like it's got to be the third one.
Well, I guess this is just going to get on a short guessing.
This is really unimportant and irrelevant.
Because I guess even like in different myths, that is sort of how that falls. Because you have like the first age would sort of be like the very beginning, like the deeds of gods and of astounding creation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get kind of an age of heroes and demigods after that. That's sort of where the stories shift to. And then Third Age is like
normal people,
more mundane. Like you maybe still get some of that.
Interesting.
But it is a lot more mundane.
Yeah.
I feel I might be making that up.
Curious.
But it feels like it checks out.
That sounds right. Yeah. In comics, it's the Golden Age is all the idealized superheroes. The Silver Age is the goofy ones, which is where like the Joker stops killing people and just the Joker in the Golden Age is a super hyper intelligent mob boss. Basically, the Joker in the Silver Age is the guy who squirts you with a flower and has a fake gun. The Joker in the Bronze Age is just crazy because that's the gritty modern reimagining or whatever. So most of the Dark Knight stuff is Bronze Age superhero. So that doesn't really parallel super well, but anyway,
it's 3 steps.
There are 3. 3 is a magic number, as the song says. It's a Schoolhouse Rock song. I don't know if anyone knows Schoolhouse Rock. It's a great thing. That's good. So back to this. So Gandalf hasn't done any wizardry. This is still like the first page of the.
That's it. We've talked about some of the broad strokes ideas.
Yes.
So we have covered more ground than it appears.
Yes. He says the wood is not his. I think you said last week something like there's an online theory that Gandalf summoned the wood.
No.
No. Okay, then I misunderstood that. I don't know what the online theory is. It looks like it's just Treebeard. I think Treebeard sent the wood. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll spoil it. Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy.
Gandalf.
I
think I was trying not to put too much on there, and I will still hold back some information. I think I said this isn't Gandalf's forest, but he didn't not have anything to do with it.
Okay. He asked Treebeard, and Treebeard sent a whole forest.
Yeah, that is what happened.
Fair enough. There are also Ints in this forest.
Yes.
There
are a few Ints.
It is not entirely Ints, but it is not devoid of Ints.
Yeah. What
shall we say?
There are maybe 4 Ints.
There are 3.
They see 3, yeah.
There are 4, but they only see 3.
What
in the world?
There are 3 Ints. Yeah.
Yes. Are there? What if there's a 4th one?
There might be. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just so confused. So Gandalf decides to head to Isengard. It's later on. Yes. Very weird. The forest is just throwing me off. I don't like it.
Tell me what
much.
You're thinking.
Whatever. We'll get there.
Oh, well,
when the forest just up and disappears.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, they have to go through the whole forest first. I don't think it's awesome. I don't know. I don't like how that's written.
It's a nocturnal forest.
That's so stupid. Okay. You're probably right, but that's terrible. So Gandalf decides to head to Isengard. Theoden says he would go with him, but his army's not very strong.
He's like, man, I don't just look old, man. I'm old and tired.
Yeah. And he can't rally troops together to go and face Saruman at the height of his power. But importantly, Theoden says, if you think it's wise for us to do that, I will go and join you.
Yeah.
Even without an army.
I think that's a neat development for Theoden.
Yeah.
Because he was really doubting Gandalf before this.
Just last chapter.
Yeah. And can say that's reasonable enough.
Mm-hmm.
But having been rescued and seeing Gandalf come through, he's like, you might not be telling us everything, but I'll trust you with what you are saying and head there.
Yeah. Theoden is almost like an idealized human being.
Yeah.
In many ways.
His especially, I'm interrupting you, but especially with his dynamic with Gandalf,
Mm-hmm.
you really see that.
Yeah. At least right here. I don't know every place he goes after this, but the Bible has plenty of Jesus comes down and does miracles and then nobody believes in him anyway, or at least it's a very temporary passing thing. But Theoden is very, very skeptical, but when he sees something, he's willing to accept it.
Yeah.
It's that's the kind of person you want to deal with, is someone who's not just going to jump after any passing fancy that they have, but can truly be convinced by seeing real evidence.
Yeah.
Because Theoden sees, it's not just what Gandalf has done. He also sees Ents later in the chapter and is like, oh, I guess the stories about those were real. And he sees hobbits later in the chapter and he's like, oh, I guess the stories about those were real too.
Yeah.
And just kind of goes with it. So I like Theoden. He's a cool guy.
He is spectacular.
Um,
I guess I can bring this up now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you just mentioned, that is I was going to say a reoccurring thing, but it is just the two times you mentioned, these legendary Ents appear. He sees the legendary hobbits as well. It's very similar to our introduction. This isn't our introduction
Éomer.
to Theoden,
Yeah.
but this chapter is similar to our introduction to Éomer.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Where Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas keep saying, and then this happened. And Éomer's like, I didn't know that was real. What?
Yeah.
And one of the neat things in that chapter, I think maybe the quintessential line from the Riders of Rohan chapter is when Éomer says, seems like we walk in the days of legend. How is a man to judge what is right? And everyone says, as he always has. And Theoden doesn't say that, but that is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's like, Gandalf is incredible. I don't understand him. There's Ents. I don't understand those. And hobbits. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But Theoden just keeps doing the best thing he can do.
Yeah, I don't know. There's probably a point to be made about this, and I haven't really thought about that. I didn't connect the Theoden Éomer connection before you started mentioning it. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Éomer never saw the Ents. Éomer never saw the hobbits, but Éomer was willing to say, well, you guys seem trustworthy, so I'll take you at your word. Whereas Theoden really hasn't been told about the Ents or the hobbits, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's convinced by seeing them. I don't know that he would be convinced just by telling them or just by being told about it. I'm not sure he wouldn't be, but I'm not sure he would be. He seems like a guy who needs to see a visual proof instead of hear an auditory proof.
I will grant that.
Probably.
I think that does fit his pattern.
Because he has heard all the time that, Gandalf is coming back. Don't count Gandalf out.
Yeah.
And he doesn't believe it until he sees it. So
Mm-hmm.
I would extrapolate it there. But
yeah, I think that works with what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think as we keep reading, we'll see Éomer kind of arrives at being more skeptical kind of character.
Fair.
Yeah. But no, that is something
for him.
interesting to think about.
There is a balance between blind faith and blind not faith.
Anti-faith. Doubt.
Blind faith, blind doubt, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't be one or the other. Be both.
Yeah.
Yes. Ascend to a higher plane.
Open your eyes.
Or something. It's at this moment where Aragorn subtly reminds us that he is a healer by saying, I will heal your scratch, Gimli.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one line. It comes back up in book 3. So I guess we'll see it then. But healing is good.
Yeah. It doesn't happen as much in book 2.
Yeah.
Or Two Towers.
No,
But
but
that's
it's
okay.
nice to have a mention so that it's not just, I heal Frodo's wound and then I am the king because I heal things. later on in book 3.
Yeah.
So
It is mostly what it's like. I think this is the only sort of mention of that idea here, but
good
that's
enough.
okay. I think it is good enough.
Yeah, it's not going to stand out to anybody who doesn't like know what to look for. It's just a very natural thing for Aragorn to do because you're like, oh yeah, he helped Frodo, so obviously he can help people.
Yeah. So I have a question
works.
to ask you here in a
Yes.
minute.
Okay.
But first, there's this. We've seen this sort of thing before play out between Legolas and Gimli.
Probably. Oh, in the forest?
Yeah, but Gimli is like legitimately, reasonably terrified of this forest. It's like gives him the heebie-jeebies. He's like, "This forest wasn't here before. Now it's here. I don't like it." And
Gimli
Legolas
is a
is
based
like,
individual.
Legolas says, "I love this forest. It
Legolas
makes
is
me
not a
feel
based
young
individual.
again. There are eyes. What?"
That only happens at the very end.
Yes. And what is it? We don't have the little funny comment here this time. Where no, that was earlier with Helm's Deep. He's like, "Well, you're a dwarf. Of course you like this stone place, but dwarves are weird."
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Gimli said to him when Legolas said, "I love Fangorn." Gimli's like, "Of course you do. You're an elf. Elves are weird."
Yeah.
But here Legolas is geeking out about the forest, and Gimli says, "You know what's actually cool? I got to see some caves."
Yeah.
And Legolas is like, they're talking for a bit, and Legolas says, I would pay to not go." In response to Gimli saying he loves the caves. And this gets developed a little bit. I'll ask you a question about it in a little bit, but they're good friends.
Mm-hmm.
They have very different opinions. Very different opinions isn't, I guess, the right thing. That's technically right, but
They
it's
just
more
have
like
different likes.
different preferences. Yeah.
Yeah.
They love different things, and we start seeing this by the end. Spoilers for the end of this discussion. Legolas says, "Well, I don't like these caves,
Mm-hmm.
but I love hearing you talk about them," which is really a cool
Mm-hmm.
idea. I think that's a neat thing to think about for friendships. You know, like.
And it is, I will accompany you to go and look at them if you want to come and look at the forest with me.
Yeah.
Right. We can hang out. We can do what you want to do. We can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
We don't have to like the same things to work together.
There's this old book. I don't remember what it's called. It's called like
The Bible.
Mouse and Bear.
Oh, it's pretty close.
And they're like, "We're great." It's like a really basic kids book. Like it's the first page, like, "We're great friends, Mouse and Bear."
Ah, yes.
But then he says, "Well, the bear says, I like being on a big bike." Mouse says, "Well, I like being on a little bike." And on and on. Like, well, we don't like the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Can we be friends? And they discover that yes, they can.
And the answer is no. You can't be friends with anyone who has one different opinion than you.
Well,
That's why I have no friends.
oh no.
Tough.
Well, no one would have any friends that way.
That's true.
Oh, but
People who do
one
that
of the
are
most,
sad.
yeah, that is true. One of the most beautiful things here is Legolas says, like, "I don't care about these caves, but hearing you talk about them is moving to me. Like, I love the caves." Basically, if I were to summarize, I don't love the caves, but I love how they're making you feel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool.
I'm glad you have something you enjoy.
Yeah.
And I will go and hang out with you so that you can enjoy it, even if I'm not personally interested in it.
Yeah.
It's cool. Legolas can tell that these trees are teleported from Fanghorn.
Teleported?
Basically. I assume. And they hate orcs and don't really know what to do with humans because humans are so insignificant. Gimli does wax very poetic on the Helm's Deep caves.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
It was a lot of waxing poetic on Helm's Deep caves.
It sounds very beautiful.
Not my favorite, personally. I like caves as much as the next guy, but like reading descriptions of them is fine. But very interesting. I will say at this point, reading the book and thinking about the movie. Gandalf in the movie, I can very easily envision in the book, and Aragorn in the movie, I can very easily envision in the book. Theoden, Éomer, great casting, etc. Gimli, great. Legolas, I cannot imagine saying any of this. So rip to Legolas in the movie, but
no. Orlando Bloom is like a fine guy, I'm sure, but
not the same character at all.
No, I feel, yeah, that was like the actor's first movie or whatever it was, but I feel that's sort of a writer or director problem, I think. No. But it's like Legolas is definitely not the most important character, not by a long shot. But so it makes sense. Like you only have so much time in a movie, like you can just make Legolas's friendship with Gimli sort of a joke, which it often is in the book even. Mm-hmm. But it's not just that.
Yeah. Well, they did just fine. Like there being a friendship between them, that is fine. It's just when I read Aragorn talking, I can imagine Viggo Mortensen delivering the lines. Mm-hmm. When I read Legolas talking, I get a picture of like an old Elrond type guy rather than a youthful Legolas looking guy, as it were.
No, I gotcha.
So very odd. Just interesting how much personality can come through the force of just words and convince you of one thing or another. So I find that curious. They finally get out of the forest. Legolas sees eyes in the forest. He goes to go back into the forest. Gimli says, "Don't do that." And then some Ents walk out. And Theoden says, "Huh, I believe in Ents now."
Yeah. Well, the writers were about ready to try to throw down with these troll-looking things, and Gandalf says, "No, don't do
these
that.
Ones are good guys. We like them." And Theoden at this point,
this is good.
Yeah, you go ahead.
You
have something to say on this?
No, you go first.
I'm trying to read my notes and decipher them as to what I meant. He mentions that the war may destroy kind of him and the Ents and whatever else.
Much that was beautiful and wonderful may be lost.
Yeah, but Gandalf says, it can't be helped, right? Saruman needs defeating, both of them. That's not going to be the end of it. Mm-hmm. Like defeating this one evil being, sure, that's great, but it's not going to solve every little evil thing that all the other people do as well. And his death is not going to erase what he has done. So even if you do delete future evil, like past evil still exists. And so there's nothing you can do to fully remedy it, but it's another one of those things where it's like, what can men do against such reckless hate? And the answer is, well, just a little bit, but at least you can do a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that theme carries through from Butterbur in the first book, and it's from Theoden here.
Yeah. It's that's a really good connection there, honestly.
I think so.
Even this king is has a lot more in common with that innkeeper than either of them would have expected, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like humans are the same. That's crazy.
Even hobbits, because I thought about this when we were first introduced to Theoden. I think I mentioned this. One of the first things Theoden says when he actually starts acting like a king again and leaving his dark house is, "Man, there's a lot of evil out here. I'm not sure what to do. I wish these evil days weren't mine," which is very, very similar to what Frodo says. And this idea here is whoa, I can't talk. This is similar to some Frodo things as well. Maybe not even just Frodo. I may have latched onto something I thought was there that's not. But we've seen this idea before in the mouths of other characters. Mm-hmm. That these beautiful things can't be entirely saved. Like that's one of the huge parts one of the huge themes in Fellowship of the Ring that becomes like less obviously stated in this book, but still is here.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Galadriel, particularly, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm rehashing what you said, but Gandalf's final words are, yes, but we still need to do the right thing. We can't save everything. You know, Sauron still has his power and choices, but we still need to do that which we can do. Yeah.
If you can save something, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So, may as well. This is the point where we've already covered a lot of the minute details that come after this. Our gang crosses the Isen Ford, I think it is.
Yeah. So the river's just called Isen.
Yeah.
So Isen Ford is where you cross the
Oh,
Isen.
because you're fording the Isen.
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
Yeah. No. Anyway, they cross over a battlefield, the battlefield where I think Erkenbrand's riders had been attacked and overrun.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like this is where Gandalf starts talking about how he found all the riders and he, set people to bury them. So here's this heap of dead riders, but they're taken care of at least. There's a ceremonial thing there. I do think it's funny. Gandalf says, "Don't worry about the wolves. The wolves are all eating the orcs." That is the friendship of their kind, which is very telling. Even back in the Uruk-hai chapter, it was evil hates itself.
Yeah.
And so
just a little tidbit reminding us of that, huh?
Mm-hmm. Just a little zinger to point towards the orcs, and then you move on after that. There's been a lot in the Two Towers about how evil acts and how evil thinks.
Yes.
And how it interacts with other forces, like the forces of good, and how it interacts with itself.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any of that in Fellowship.
Well,
I don't think. Not much.
Any is too strong, far too strong. I think it gets a little more clear here. It's like in the Fellowship of the Ring, you had the Nazgul's powers are repeatedly tied to fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the operation of evil, right? And you have the Balrog. I might be reading too much into this. I don't think so.
Probably.
But the Balrog is hiding and trying to ignore. There's no better way to say it. The coming judgment. And I think particularly at the end, and Elrond says this too. Gandalf says this too.
Gandalf says a lot.
The way Galadriel says it is most striking to me is that she can understand evil, particularly Sauron, but Sauron can't understand her. And that's the whole point of the quest is that Sauron never in a million years would think they would try something like that.
Yeah, because it's a stupid idea.
Yeah, but I guess to your point, like that's all higher level.
Yeah,
and it's more
personalized.
This is more operational.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that's
smaller
how I was going to
scale.
refine that.
Yeah.
So
good idea.
I just found that interesting.
No, it is very interesting in this book.
Of note.
Yeah.
Complaints about Gandalf, etc., etc. All the gang sees. We already covered it, so whatever.
Okay.
All the gang sees steam coming from Isengard.
Whoosh.
And they think it's an attack, and Gandalf is just like, I don't know. So I don't know if that is he doesn't actually know.
If he thought it was a danger, he would have done something else.
Yes, probably.
He's crunching the numbers. He's like, there's a 99% chance. This is totally fine.
And it's good that it is. And so they camp out in the view of that. This is the bit where the forest just disappears.
Yes.
It's described as there is a darkness blacker than night that creeps up, and then a bunch of gloom that covers the camp and all around them and takes them into an area of darkness, and then the trees just are gone. They teleport away. And a bunch of orc corpses also teleport away.
They move away.
Yes.
When they were riding Helm's Deep, Gandalf says, Legolas, you have the eyes of your fair kindred. Can you see what's happening away in the Vale of Isengard? Legolas says, no, I cannot. There's this like magical darkness or something. I think he was seeing this tree darkness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe. I think up until this point, we've had a very strong association between darkness and evil.
Yes.
And so it strikes me as odd, and I don't really like it when darkness is, in this case, not evil. Darkness is just trees, unless trees are evil.
Have you ever met an evil tree?
Not that I know of.
You have in the previous book.
Oh, never mind.
Recall? Old Man Willow?
Oh, Tom Bombadil. I forgot.
Not Tom Bombadil.
He's an evil tree.
No, Old Man Willow.
Well, yes.
So he's an evil tree.
Well, okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And he is evil. He tries to kill the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
These ones are good because they only kill the orcs.
Yeah, ish. So maybe it gets talked about.
Simplistic.
Maybe this is one of the strangely more nuanced parts.
Okay.
I will have to talk about this more next time, but one of the things Merry and Pippin will say in regard to these trees, who they've also been near, is they say they're very glad that the Ents were there to shepherd these trees.
These are rebel trees.
Yeah, and Legolas, though, he can somehow perceive the hearts of these trees. Gimli says they must be nasty and evil. Legolas says, no, just really, really angry at orcs.
Yeah.
But it does call to mind, like, and they're certainly dangerous, right?
Yes.
So they're close to Old Man Willow. They're not exactly the same.
Okay.
But
Curious. These are violent trees that have
Yeah.
to be guided, I guess.
yeah, it's just like Tom Bombadil doesn't have the same moral responsibilities as like mortals do.
Mm-hmm.
And we even talked about that a little bit with Treebeard. Like, he was created to be a guardian of nature, so he's trying to be the best guardian of nature he can be, which has some overlap with, working with Gandalf, which is great.
Yeah.
And maybe that's even that different moral responsibility might be even more apparent with the trees.
Yeah,
that could be part of it too.
Okay.
But it is. I'll grant you, it is pretty weird.
Interesting. I guess I will hold off judgment until next chapter to
once again
see what that's about. Try to figure that out. They have passed through the trees. I wonder if they had spent the night in the middle of the trees, would they have also disappeared?
Maybe that might be why
no
they
idea.
tried to get through.
There is at this moment is when there's a bunch of description about Saruman's land.
Yeah.
Basically, several different pictures over the paragraphs about it used to be really nice, and now it's just kind of a desolate wilderness. It used to be green and beautiful, but now everything's overgrown, and it's
So,
half is overgrown and half of it's just a dead waste.
Yeah.
And there's no in between of
Yeah.
a
Well,
nice
and
level
the
of
overgrown
cultivation.
stuff comes from the Ents, right?
That could be.
I think so.
Is that the implication? Yeah.
Yeah. But Tolkien's not being subtle. He's like, it used to be green and nice. Now it's the opposite
It's
of
not. It's not
Yeah.
nice anymore. Yes, a lot of talk like, bulking up Orthanc and Isengard in general, the area, as this really strong, nice place. Even though Orthanc or Orthanc or however you want to say that is kind of like a bad name in two different languages, and nobody caught it. I guess that's kind of realistic for us because we just call stuff by its given name and don't really think about the meaning behind it. Maybe the meaning isn't necessarily.
It borders on evil. I don't know, because the two translations of Orthanc would be Mount Fang or Cunning Mind, right?
Yeah.
None of those are like evil in and of themselves, right? Like
At least
Fang,
not blatantly. Yeah.
Fang maybe is like, okay, that's a little uncomfy, a little spooky.
Mm-hmm.
But cunning, usually people use that with a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't
It feels a
have
little
to
off,
be. That's
right?
just how everybody
Yeah.
talks about it, or at least how everybody uses it nowadays.
Mhm.
So maybe if you antiquate the language by 8,000 years or however long ago this was, then like
Possibly.
I guess that could make more sense. Just curious.
What is really striking to me is I don't know what page it is for you, but
175.
right after, or right at the final part of this description of Orthanc, we get a little bit about Saruman, how he'd been slowly shifting it toward his purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how Tolkien says this. He forsook his former wisdom and he for this new thing, which he fondly imagined was his own, but came from Mordor.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good way to say that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Everything selfish we do, this is like just ultimately following the first rebel, right?
Yeah.
And Saruman's like, well, this rebellion against the Valar who sent me here, this is great. I'm covering a lot of new ground here. I'm doing something new and wonderful for me. But he's being selfish and prideful, and he's far, far less original than he thinks he is.
Yeah.
And he's not going to escape the same thing that's going to happen to everyone else who's done this.
Yeah. I think there are two elements to that, right? There's there's nothing new under the sun, that Ecclesiastes bit where he's not reinventing any kind of wheel here. He's just being little Saruman, and it's almost like, or little Sauron, and Sauron is basically like just laughing at him as he's influencing him and guiding his hand, and it's all a secret to Saruman. He doesn't realize it, but Sauron's just there the whole time, like patting the little kid on the head when the little kid tries to do something, basically, which is funny to think of. Well, kind of sad to think of Saruman being the head of all the wizards, and he is like super old and super wise, and then he still absolutely falls for it because he's an idiot at the end of the day. So that's kind of disappointing. There's also, even in that line you read, he shaped it to his shifting purposes and made it better as he thought.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is to say, my wife and I were just talking about this yesterday, just thinking about it. How the prioritization of efficiency and over the use of beauty in like art and architecture and stuff like that. Yeah. We like to build buildings that work, not buildings that are pretty, and that is an indication of a downfall of society when you put all your effort into doing the stuff that functions the quickest at the expense of that which is nice. To save and to look at.
I didn't always used to think that, but I think I've grown to appreciate that more and more. And that's something you can tell Tolkien thought about a lot because of lines like this.
Yeah. I am all for efficiency.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that's, if everybody's all for efficiency, that goes really badly. Saruman was all efficiency and no consideration of that which was actually good. Yeah. And so he lost himself.
A sole focus on being efficient is.
Read Plato's Republic.
Yeah, it's probably not too far
it's
to
a
say
great book.
Dehumanizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Read Plato's Republic. It's great. He's talking about an efficient city, and he essentially says, if you want an efficient city, you should just execute all the old people because, like, they use resources. So you should just kill them all. And the answer is no, you shouldn't do that because that's not a moral thing to do, and you lose all sorts of wisdom from the aged. But if you want to be purely efficient, then yes, he is correct. That is what you would do, which is why he ultimately says you shouldn't do it. Yeah. That's why we live in an inefficient society, is because we want one that actually runs well instead of one that runs the most efficiently but destroys itself. So read Plato's Republic. It's a great book. Yeah. Essentially. That's the point.
I will say this little bit here is Sauron is like a lot like Morgoth, like the actual original rebel. Yeah, just a reskinned Satan, really, in Tolkien's world. But there's an interesting difference between them. Morgoth was really angry, and he was happy to just try to destroy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But Sauron and Saruman as well, actually, they're one of the things Tolkien says about both of them is they're upset how inefficient things are, which was never said about Morgoth. He was happy to just try to destroy stuff, but Sauron is like, I could be a lot more efficient with like creating and defending things. And he's got to the point where he's willing to kill and sacrifice a lot of things for that ultimate goal.
Curious.
That's another difference between Sauron and the good guys, is for him the end justifies the means.
Yeah.
But his end goal is efficiency. We're also, who would have thought he's in charge? So I think that's also interesting.
Curious. So basically, Sauron's cool.
He thinks so.
I think so. Sometimes he's got some good points, and then that's where that ends, because he's also got some pretty bad points.
Yes,
and that is unfortunate. If only we could get the good without the bad. If only you could just be balanced, that would be better than being one or the other. Oh well. It's curious. They arrive to the gates of Isengard at noon. It's just after noon, actually, which is like the height of the day, so the sun is shining the most it's going to be. And Isengard is open, like the gates are ripped apart, which is not great.
Next chapter is crazy.
I guess. Is it a description of how that worked?
Partly? A big part of it is Merry and Pippin recounting the attack on Isengard.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. There is Isengard has been flooded, which probably isn't supposed to work.
Nope.
The tower area is broken. There's a hand sculpture.
Is it hand sculpture?
What? I was confused by that one. They pass like this hand whose nails are all bloody, and you say,
I thought that was like a relief for like something painted there.
I assumed so. I
think so.
I went back and read a couple of previous paragraphs, and I couldn't find where it mentioned there was like a painting or a mural or something. So I was confused on that. Maybe I just missed something earlier. I don't even know where it is at this point. Oh well, not important. Isengard's a wreck, basically, is the point. And
it's called the Pillar of the Hand. So it's like a hand-shaped pillar, or is it like a pillar with a painting of a hand? I see.
I guess, okay, it makes more sense to have a painting of the
I
hand
think so.
on it. I was just imagining like a big hand sculpture, and that doesn't really do it for me.
No, I don't think so.
So Saruman had this monument to his greatness, which is not great anymore. It's stained with blood, which is highly symbolic, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And Merry and Pippin are there.
Mm-hmm.
And Saruman and Wormtongue are also there, but they are stuck inside of Isengard.
It's so good
Can't
to see
leave.
these hobbits again.
Yes. They're here.
Yeah.
They have eaten well.
Mm-hmm.
They are smoking currently.
Yeah.
Pippin is asleep, I think.
Wait. Classic Pippin. Yes, he is.
Basically.
He's always sleepy.
He wakes up like halfway through the conversations.
And that's wild.
Very curious. Oh, I'm stupid. Hold on. Okay, I'm just going to forget that last point. Never mind. So, yeah, Pippin wakes up halfway through, and then they have a little conversation. Basically, Treebeard's in charge of Isengard. Saruman's on site, but indisposed.
Yeah.
Not able to do anything.
Imprisoned.
Treebeard's on the north side. Like, he's dealing with a bunch of other stuff, but several of the Ents are still camped out around the tower just to make sure Saruman can't get out. Theoden is like, oh, hobbits. I know you guys. I know you by a different name.
What,
Hobbitlan. And they call themselves hobbits. And he's like, okay, close enough, I guess.
Hobbitlan.
Very cool. And they start to chat for just a minute. Mary starts to wax poetic about
pipeweed. Pipeweed and his ancestors.
Gandalf gets jealous of someone else getting to talk, and so he cuts Mary off, and they end up going to the north side to talk to Treebeard, which is, I assume,
crazy.
in most of the chapter, next chapter. It's right, though.
No, it's not.
It's kind of right, though. Merry got one chance to talk to the king, and suddenly Gandalf is like, all right, I don't want to hear it. We're moving on. And Pippin says, that's a very polite king.
So we'll come back to this and cry about it later.
Probably.
But one of the neat things here
Boo-hoo.
on the page before last
I'm in tears.
is
later. Like
yeah.
an hour and 1 minute in. Okay.
No, like a book later.
At the Pelennor field?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And after.
Oh.
But Theoden
Pelennor
laughs
fields too.
because there's this banter between Gimli, Legolas, Merry, and Pippin.
Yeah.
And Theoden, he's lost a lot, and he's also made some huge mistakes, but he's able to just take joy in this simple interaction, which I think is a lot like Gandalf, who's like this great wizard who also spends time at the Shire, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to articulate it exactly, but like that's a good quality, right? To appreciate simple friendship, to appreciate laughter.
Yeah.
And it's something, I think it's a good thing that he impresses innocent but noble characters like Merry and Pippin, right? Pippin is going to have a pretty different response to Denethor. Denethor's going to be really interesting to talk about later.
Yes.
But these innocent and noble characters say, that's the King of Rohan. Very polite.
Yeah.
And I keep comparing Theoden to different people. Was maybe the most efficient way to do it since we know them a little bit better. That's also something, it's a good thing Theoden has in common with Aragorn. Is he is king, but he's not letting it go to his head, I guess, is the best way to say it. Like when Gandalf stormed into his hall, Wormtongue's like, "Who's king of Rohan? Not you. It's Theoden. You're king. You should do what you want." But the Hobbit's like, huh, he wasn't really talking like a really impressive king guy. He was just being polite.
He knows he's still a human.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Always good to have leaders who are aware of that that fact.
Yes.
Unfortunately, probably part of the idealized fantasy.
Yeah.
As well, at least for Theoden, which is good, because Denethor is not king and also not humble, I don't think. At least not from what I remember.
He is nuanced, but yeah, humility isn't something that comes very easy to
him. Not his strongest suit, shall we say. Yeah, I don't really know how the Denethor thing works, especially not in the book.
Yeah, Theoden is like pretty cool in the movies.
Yeah.
They do Denethor dirty. There's a lot more going on there in the book.
Yeah. I know in the movie it's very quick that Pippin like swears allegiance to him and stuff like that. I don't know how it is in the book, but if it is very quick in the book, I wonder if Pippin remembers, the good things the good things Theoden did and how great he was.
That happens at least once, actually.
And he does he like grandfather that hope onto Denethor and then get disappointed, or does he see things in Denethor and be like, oh, I just wish he was like Theoden.
Something,
or maybe both.
Something like one of those.
So I'm curious to see how that turns out. Not really something I would be looking for if I just read this chapter, but since I know he ends up in a throne room with Denethor later on, like you can read some ideas back on it. So curious to see where that goes. Anything else about this chapter?
Yeah, I guess one last thing about what we're just talking about is I accidentally brushed over what Theoden says before he rides off to meet with Treebeard along with Gandalf. Gandalf is understandably rushing to go iron things out with Treebeard and Theoden. But Theoden, like you say, he's acting like a person, right? He takes time to say to Merry, farewell. I hope we can meet again in my house. You will sit beside me there, and you will tell me all that your heart desires.
That's foreshadowing, by the way.
Yeah. And it's an obvious point, right? But wanting and being willing to listen to people.
Yeah.
Like that's we've seen that that he wants to listen to Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
He recognizes Gandalf's wisdom, but also the listening is a way to make people feel heard and valued, you know. And it's just awesome that he's doing that.
It is awesome that he's doing that.
Yeah.
Just like Ahasuerus listens to everyone in the Book of Esther, because he's a great king.
I was gonna
He
say
listens to
I didn't
everyone.
want to distract too much, but that is something bad we see. Like it can go too far, like with listening to Wormtongue.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can.
But we're seeing the positive.
Good
parts
thing
of that here.
Ahasuerus never listens to anyone bad now, isn't it? That's
Hey
a whole
man, I
different-
don't know what you're talking about.
Whole different conversation. Anyway, not very relevant for this. Theoden is cool, and Merry and Pippin are still alive, and I'm curious where they end up from here.
Mhm.
So, next time, the next one. What's the next one?
Flotsam and
Flotsam.
yeah, Flotsam and Flotsam.
That's what they're called. So I guess Sam's in the next chapter. Twice.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right. I guess we'll see you guys next time.